Quarter-over-quarter earnings. Good morning. Quarter-over-quarter. I mean, it's nice to see year-over-year acceleration, but quarter-over-quarter acceleration is what I'm looking for. Morning, Shane. No, not really. I don't want to see a company guide down. Which screens do I run on the daily? Effectively all of them. 30-day, 90-day, high volume scan, earnings gap up, gap down. High volume closes exactly what it sounds like. You get a gap up on earnings typically, or on some good piece of news. You get a big pickup in volume, usually the largest volume of the quarter, of the month, of the year. And then you use that closing price as your key level going forward. Yeah, ATRO is tight enough, but it's very thin. Very thin. Yeah, AXON could be a high volume close. Not the best per se, but it's not bad. Yeah, LMND, another one. Insurance company. Just recently broke out of a really long neglected base. Stage 1, huge stage 1 base. Yeah, could be good. LMND I like a little bit more than Axon, to be honest with you, even though Axon's been in a much longer and nicer established uptrend. Yeah, I saw Upstart. I thought earnings were pretty good. Nice job bouncing back. Same thing with Toast. Thought earnings were decent, and this one's, kind of gapping down. LNTH got crushed again. Yeah. This is why I avoid stocks below their 200 simple moving average. There's really just no reason to be in stocks below their 200. I say it all the time, but for some reason people, it's the same thing with like United Health. I've seen people buying this thing at 426. I saw people buying this thing in the mid 300s. I saw people buying this thing at 260s, 250s. At what point, do you just hate your money? I mean, there's no way to tell me you hate your money more than buying a stock below the 200 simple moving average. Honestly, there's just no better way to show that you absolutely hate your money. Yeah, there are some good ones. I like ANET. I'm kind of kicking myself on ANET because I saw this little flat pivot here, and I never bought it right on this day here, or even this little flag. And I kind of said it when it was happening that it reminded me a lot of CLS and that I thought it would eventually go make a new high. Apple can be a pivot point. Yeah, but who cares what Hassett said? Is Hassett buying up Apple and actually making it be above the 200 and break out? I don't understand why, George. Why? I literally just got done saying, there's you hate your fucking money if you're buying stocks below the 200 simple moving average, dude. It's as simple as that. I don't understand where that wasn't super plain English. Apple has been below the 200 simple moving average since March. No, I wouldn't necessarily short it. I don't think that this is a good enough short setup. I'm not going to show up on, the 5th, 6th red down day in a row and short it. I also don't see a good spot to short it. But, this name has literally been living below the 200 simple moving average this entire bull market. You want to look at a piece of shit? The 4 letters are AAPL. And not to mention that it moves super slow, George. I'm not picking on you, dude, but I am kind of picking on you. You can't be looking at crap like this, dude. It's just wasting your time. You're wasting your career You're wasting effort, brain power, all of the above. It's a glorified hardware company, clearly, and institutions don't love it. I mean, it's honestly dog shit. It's like, why the hell would you want to own a stock that moves 2% per day and now living below the 200 simple moving average in the strongest bull market that I've ever traded in effectively in my career that isn't COVID money? I mean, stocks have been vertical, markets have been vertical, and you're worried about Apple? Throw this shit in the trash, dude. It's garbage. It's garbage. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, it could be a pivot point. It could be good. I'd be lying to you, dude. And I don't want to lie to you. You're not here for that. You're here so you can learn how to make some money, and this ain't the way. If you want to buy some leaps, the year's 2050. Don't waste your time. If you want to make money before you're dead, stay away from Apple. It's already made a huge move. It's literally a ripping and roaring bull market, and this thing hasn't fucking moved. If you respect your money, you'll stay away from shit that can't even be above its 200 in this market. If you can't be above this 200 simple moving average in this market, good Lord. What more does the stock market need to do? Go up another 500%? It's up 40% and Apple hasn't moved. Like, what more does the market need to do? Leading stocks, they go without the market. Apple, it's what dog shit looks like. Man, poor coin. Once names break down on earnings too, guys, do not look for the bottom. No, I repeat it because it's like, for some reason, for any of you guys who show up in here every single day, you guys hear me talk about the 200 simple moving average all the time. If it's below the 200 and this is the market that we're in, right, you either need to wait until the stock itself strengthens or it starts to show some serious relative strength versus the market, right? It would be a different story if the market were down 40%, this year, and all of a sudden, like, Apple's just hanging out just underneath the 200. I don't know that I like home builders just yet. I don't know that I like them just yet. They're just getting above the 200 now. Let them establish themselves a little bit more above it, and then maybe. But yeah, I'm seeing this. They all look fairly similar too. LEN a laggard. Toll doing the same thing. Builder trying to get up above the 200 as well. Yeah, I mean, they're acting a little bit. I know, man. Toast is so annoying. I'm not really focused on getting long a bunch of stocks today. I still think that the market's far too choppy. I think market needs a little bit more digestion. And we're in the middle of earnings season. So I'm really looking to identify what are the best names that are gapping up on earnings and then letting the market kind of finish what it has to do, chopping around, and then we can go ahead and look for good buy spots on these names. So like an ANET, an A-Lab, a Shopify, an LEU, a BWXT. Yeah, there are multiple names out there that are acting really well from their respective earnings. And for instance, there are stocks not acting well on their respective earnings, like Coinbase. So I'm just looking to avoid those for now, right? So it's like, identify which ones you'd like to potentially own that are acting well from their earnings. And the reason that they're acting well from their earnings is institutions are buying them. They're going to accumulate them. They're accumulating them, right? All of the above. They're in a good group, right? Find your reasoning. Wait for a better market, because the market has hardly pulled back at all. The market has literally not pulled back at all, and Coinbase is down 35% effectively from highs, right? Now, just imagine, I said it yesterday, what do you think's going on with Coinbase if the market falls 10%? which, by the way, the market could fall 10% and there'd be nothing wrong with the QQQ at all. Right from highs, the market could, fall to effectively the 200 simple moving average, and there'd be nothing wrong with the market at all. Right? You'd still be up 28%, 27% from the April lows. I think CRDO is fine. The only problem right now is I don't know that I love the semi group. So huge move up, but where's the base? So CRDO is fine, but where is the base? Right? Like, this is not a consolidation. This is a little blip sideways. And I've given this example before, go back and study GEV. I know DeepSeek happened, right? But when a stock makes a really nice steady move, think like CRDO, right? A really nice steady move up, right? Here's your CRDO right here. And then you're asking me, hey, Ariel, what do you think of CRDO? To which I'll tell you, this is not long enough, right? It needs multiple weeks. This was 7 weeks here. So it needs time and lots of it. So CRDO is fine, TSM is fine, AVGO is fine, NVIDIA is fine, but half the group acts pretty poor, right? Now you just need a new base. A new base is like, like the Formula One car, it needs to come into the pit and get some fuel. The base is it stopping at the pit and grabbing some fuel, right? Right here, we're expending a lot of the fuel, just kind of chugging along and chugging along and chugging along. You can only really do that for so long without a base. No, those are just the names I'm identifying. Doesn't mean I want to buy all those. Some of those move a little too slow for me. For instance, like BWXT. And then, A-Lab had a nice base near 100. I didn't buy it. I just think at this point, being a little bit more on the patient side, letting the market either correct through time or through price a little bit more. Ideally, let's just say we fall 7 or 8%. That would be the best case scenario. And then I could look for a follow-through day on the market, and I can go ahead and buy the stocks that were holding up best from that follow-through day on the market. So no, I wanted to buy WPM, and it was, I said at the time it was like my favorite when I was watching it, but just there was not enough volume here for me, unfortunately. I should have gone with like KGC. This thing traded, at the time, just more dollar volume for me to get involved, even though it's a cheaper name. But my eyes were glued. I knew the group was acting well. I mean, it was super obvious. But just on a smaller time frame, this thing only traded 20,000 shares, and I wanted about 10,000 of those. So I felt pretty uncomfortable, buying effectively half the volume of the candlestick I'm trying to get into. So made me slightly uncomfortable. So I just left it alone, and I was just kind of watching it rip without me. Unfortunately, kind of sucked, but it is what it is. Yeah, AEM, KGC, GFI, AU, the basket of them. Serve is kind of trash. I don't know when this thing's going to report earnings, but I'm assuming any day now. Serve's going to report on tomorrow. So you kind of got to leave it alone until then. Wolf, is in the crypto space. So unless Bitcoin actually starts to perform well, or this thing is all of a sudden just recognized as a straight data center play, and it reports on Friday, the 8th, Friday. So we're in the middle of earnings season, right? There's no reason to go out and buy your favorite stocks before their respective earnings. TDW, Tidewater, I like this company, but the trend's been not so great lately. Nice to see, finally. Good double off the lows, back above the 200 on good earnings. Yeah, let it tighten up. Tidewater should move with like an INSW, and STNG. And they're all kind of starting to look fairly similar, just getting over the 200 now. So, yeah, I saw HNGE too. I don't think Hinge looks like it. I think that term is used far too loosely, Milo. The last EP in this market was MP. I think when people see, like, how is Hinge is referring to stocks that have been neglected for a long time. This is a brand new issue. This hasn't been neglected. So that term is used far too loosely. That was created by Pradeep. So, just make sure you refine your definition of what EP actually is, because it doesn't refer to this tiny little blip up higher. If this is an EP, what do you call Shopify? What do you call ALAB? Are those EPs too? Stocks that are already in uptrends, basically? Is TDW an EP as well? Or are those just earnings gap ups? PSIX way too extended. I don't understand the love for a name that in a year is up from 2 to 90. Guys, it's up 4,500% in a year. It would need, and it, by the way, it has never in its history moved this vertical. Guys, things that move like this need way longer in terms of a base. You're much more failure prone up here, than ever. I'd like to see how this thing ages in a month. I'd hope to be wrong, but tightening after a move like this, you need way more. I'm only in SoFi in terms of shorts. FTAI is fine. Has a high volume close, 144.46 is the level I'd keep my eye on. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Aspie. I don't know. The next thing to do to find out to see if Aspie's really any good, I don't know much about it, is what group is it in? What do its earnings and sales look like? That's for you to determine. Does it have accelerating sales quarter over quarter? Yeah, it could, Milo, it could be that. It could be a nice little earnings gap up. And instead of, trying to make sure you get yourself into it today, just let it give you a high volume close and then you can come into it. Yeah, uber nice comeback today. They dumped it and they brought it back. I don't know that I love it here just either. Again, no need to buy anything on its earnings day. Let institutions show you what they're trying to do to it. Either they're going to run it up on big volume, it's going to get accumulated, and then they'll accumulate it more throughout the quarter, or they're going to run it up and then dump it, and then you don't have to mess with it. Rambus, I like this name. Old school name, man. Old school, but there's no setup here. What will it look like when it takes out all-time highs? That'll be interesting, but there's no setup here just yet. say about a year. Say about a year. I think when the focus is exactly that, the focus for me has always just been figure out where's money going. Where is money going? You know, like when you stick that in the back of your mind, you start to make sense of the puzzle, right? And normally what helps you clue into where money is going is you've got multiple stocks within a group acting well. And that's the important part. Think of things in terms of groups, right? Bundle things into groups mentally. Are they a bunch of gold miners? Are they a bunch of semiconductors? Are they a bunch of software stocks? Are they a bunch of nuclear names? Are they a bunch of, drone companies? Is it aerospace and defense, right? Is it cigarette companies, tobacco companies? Is it, alcoholic beverage companies? Is it consumer defensive names? Is it transport names, right? It's like there's always groups. Things move in groups. Is it the electric vehicles? Is it solar stocks? Is it retail stocks? Is it, whatever it might be. So yeah, good to think about. Unity. Nice comeback for Unity there. I don't think it'll impact it at all, to be honest with you. Institutions aren't going to be buying a bunch of shares overnight. They're going to wait for market open or market close. So it doesn't matter. I hear everybody talking about how algo, AI, algo trading is going to affect the market. Guys, algo trading has been going on since John Simons or whatever at the Medallion Fund. It's been going on for forever. So, and then 24/5, that ain't going to make a difference either. There are already stocks trading 24/5. Low volume pushes or dumps make no difference to what an institution is trying to do. And your job is, like I said, to figure out where's money going, where's money leaving, and the rest of it does not matter. Yeah, Dave, Sezzle, these will be interesting. We'll see if this thing holds up. I just talked about PSIX. It's no good. I mean, yeah, sure, fine. It's a nice little cute flag. But zoom out, right? This thing is already totally fucking ridiculous in terms of the move up. Could it keep going? Yeah, fine. It can. But one, it's extended from the 50 simple moving average, right? That's number one. So it's not viable in that regard. And then number two, it's already made a gigantic move. It needs a whole new base, a multi-month base. Could it keep going as a little high tide flag? Yeah, sure. But this is failure prone up here. And if you haven't studied enough charts to know that this is failure prone, well, eventually take 100 trades like this one, you're going to learn. So when you say stuff like that, Hudson, SMCI is down 16% to the 50-day. It gained 10 cents on earnings and overreaction. Well, I guess the thing to think about is who overreacted? Was it a bunch of nobody retail traders, small little fish? Or was it people who can actually move the stock? And if it's B, people who can actually move the stock, then, I would be more apt to listen to those people. If they overreact, you should overreact. That's not saying it can't come back, but let them bring the stock back. Let them tighten it up. Let them build the right-hand side of the base. Let them give you a low-risk entry. You using your brain to try and figure out if it's an overreaction, but it's gapping down, dude, that's, that's like me looking at Deck on this day and going, is that an overreaction? But they sold a shitload of Uggs, right? And then all of a sudden, I keep looking for the bottom and looking for the bottom and looking for the bottom and looking for the bottom. And eventually, I commit suicide. All right, I'm joking on that last part, but you'll want to kill yourself. I'm not looking to hunt bottoms on stocks. And I'm not looking to use my brain in that kind of way. Is it an overreaction? I have no fucking clue. You have no clue. I have no clue. That kind of thinking is just irrelevant, right? Take that stuff out of your vocabulary. Is it an overreaction, or, oh my God, this thing's gone up too high? We also don't know how high is too high. What we do know for sure is we don't want to hunt the bottom on something. Let an institution build a base, let them give you a tight setup, and then just look at it and say, yeah, this thing's acting well. This is where I would buy it. This is how I would limit my risk. It's in a good group. They've got good earnings and sales. Those are the things that matter. Isaac, if I'm at my screens all day, brother, all day, basically. If I'm at my screen, which I would say 4 out of 5 days, I'm at my screen until 3 o'clock. It almost seems like. I think Rocket Lab and ASTS are shaping up really nicely. I like this little quiet pullback, right? You had this nice little run up, and you'll notice a nice little pickup in volume, right? And then on the pullback, you'll notice a nice little drop in volume. All right, so there hasn't been some crazy amount of sellers in Rocket Lab, which is good. You know, could also be a higher low setup. ASTS fairly similar, right? And it is perking up this morning too, right? Where you've got a low, and then now you've got a potential higher low on the daily. It doesn't look all that bad. Yeah, there was one day that had some distribution in here and another day, but really on the way up, this thing had much larger volume. So I'm trying to make not too big of a stink about this fairly low volume on this little pullback. Yeah, a little bit of distribution on whatever day this was here, but nothing to give me, too much concern. Right? Doesn't make it not viable. I don't know enough about EOSE. I was looking at this one. I don't know how I feel about this name. Kind of a turd, but yeah, I would prefer to not be trading stocks under $5. Typically, it's a liquidity issue. The last stock I traded that was under $10 was, I've traded several, right? I shorted Donut, I shorted GoPro, because there's normally liquidity on those huge pushes. But, for like a long, the last like real long that I've taken on a stock that cheap was Rocket Lab at $6, coincidentally. Last year in September or August. I've talked about that one before. Yeah, and then I'm looking for an entry over prior day high tomato. That's exactly right. Rocket, there's no setup there. I saw the gap up in after hours yesterday, but where's the setup? Like, are you just supposed to show up on day number 5 and buy this green candlestick up here? Over $18, you're supposed to show up on day 5. It's like, where's the setup? I see that it's going up, but now it needs a little digestion for you to get back and involved in this thing. But I don't really like it. There's nothing, here. Was it, buyable off of this little gap up on earnings? Yeah, maybe after earnings. Zeta EP. Again, I think we're using the that phrase a little too loosely. This is just an earnings gap up. I'm not sure. Could be, but I'm not looking to chase any names, Jamie, on earnings day. I'm looking personally to let them run as hard as they want with as big as volume as they want on day 1, and then come in and buy them after. You guys just got to look at Cecil and Dave. right? Look no further than just last quarter, right? Before this earnings, you had a nice little steady trend up. You had a gap up on earnings. You had a huge pickup in volume. You had a high volume close level, 74.98, and then you broke that level the next day. And then it was off to the races, right? There's no need for any of us to come into any stocks on day one and try to guess, where the hell we got to buy it, how much of it we got to buy. Just let it establish a really clean close level for you, and then you come in and buy it afterwards. Well, that's the idea. They're supposed to almost feel like you're chasing. The best stocks in the world hardly give you a clean entry. They almost always feel like you're chasing. Some do. But, here's the thing about a really good earnings breakout. Institutions will accumulate for an entire quarter, sometimes quarters. Right? So there's much more to be gained from keeping an eye on it and then tracking if it's got relative strength when the market's going down, meaning market's coming down, the stock is going up. Right? Market's going down, the stock is going sideways. Market's going up, the stock is really going up. Right? And it begins to have its relative strength line go up compared to the market. Yeah, AEH are looking a little bit better. The only problem I have with semis at the moment is half the group's acting well, half the group's acting like shit. So, for every one A lab you have one SMCI, right? For every one something else you've got one ASML. So the group's just kind of torn. Does RNA look good? Earnings last week, man. I'm always weary about owning biotechs. This does look like a saucer pattern, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Could be good. I don't know enough about them. I'll tell you one thing I do like. Look at the big volume that's been coming into this thing. That's the only real nice thing I could say about RNA. Yeah, MP does feel like a little bit of chasing. I also don't like the setup up here. Far too extended from the 50. So could it go? It might. It could just keep trending, but I personally can't buy this thing 70% from the 50 simple moving average. It's just not in my wheelhouse. EP typically is reserved for more of the story changing through some kind of a narrative, right? Can that happen because of earnings? Yes, it can. But it has to be some kind of a blow away, earnings report. AMRC. What group is this in? Engineering construction. What other names are in this group? PWR, EME. Fix. I mean, it's in a pretty good group. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's in a good group. this AMRC. Don't hate it. Could be a little bit better, but not bad. Too thin, man. Yeah, I looked at this one a while ago. Just too thin. You know, you zoom out on this thing, and just everything about this chart still looks like shit. You know, could be a high volume close, but just too thin. $35 million a day. My annual return is getting smaller in terms of percentage, but the dollar amount's getting bigger. And that's just typically what happens as your account grows. I don't understand. Please, you guys got to stop using that term EP. You guys are going to drive me fucking insane. Go study from the man who coined the phrase episodic pivot. His name is Pradeep Bonbi. Whatever the hell it is. Pradeep. If you guys don't know Pradeep, please look him up, because the term EP is used far too loosely in the trading community. And somehow people haven't even studied the person who came up with the phrase EP. Shop is not an EP. Yeah, Stockby. There you go. Pradeep. It's important you guys study Pradeep. Earnings gap ups, just because it's gapping up doesn't qualify as an EP. It's just an earnings gap up, guys. My biggest monthly drawdown I've ever taken. I've lost, when I first started, I've lost like 20% more, I think, of my account at once. Hard lessons learned. Oh, guys, I got to get going. I appreciate you guys as always. I will see you guys bright and early in the morning tomorrow, 23 and a half hours or so. 23 hours. Sydney Sweeney EP. That's the only EP I know. I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys trade them well today.